Early arts of the other four continents apart from Europe.
This is the one, Tricadero. It's so difficult to spell out and pronounce also.
Into the sewers. We're not going there today, it's too smelly. We're going to cross the Alma Bridge here. That's the river trips on the right, Bateau Mouche. Very nice to do a river trip. Bateau Mouche, it's about 10 or 12 euros, something like that. About 10 or 11, something like that. And the trip is about an hour.
Lady Diana died here.
I'll just show you a bit clearer, look. Just look on the left where the street sweepers are. Looking down. I didn't know what was going on at all till later, but this is a tunnel down here on the left that they didn't come out of alive. They were alive. They went to the hospital and then she died in the hospital. That's a very sad story, and that must be about 12 years ago now. Here on the right, the Contemporary Art Museum. Look at this building on the right. Contemporary Art. That's where a few weeks ago the horses faltered. 5p. You know, the French army, they usually wear this képi. It's like a round, a circular hat. We're going to have just a 5 or 10 minute stop maximum here. If Antonio has to drive away because the police move him on, don't worry, he'll come back. Say it, just a quickie photo stop here. So don't be too long. Be careful always of pickpockets, be careful of gypsies.
नेपोलियन का स्टैचू।
So the arch we're going to see at the end of the road was started off by Napoleon when he was well in the French army. Quick, hard worker, didn't sleep very much. One of those kind of people. He was certainly a doer, an achiever, great achiever. And when he was winning lots of battles, he decided to build a triumphal arch. Just go for it, look. Oof. I just hope they'll get out of the way. They usually do. And there's Napoleon on the front of the arch there. Champs-Élysées down to the right. French soldiers on the other side of the arch going off to battle to defend the motherland. Not wearing many clothes, look. That was Champs-Élysées, Elysian Fields. The word for field is champ. This is the most famous avenue in the whole of France. It's got the red, white and blue flags on at the moment. And this is where on the 14th of July The French soldiers will march down here. There won't be any cars that day. And they'll have a good look at the shops, I'm sure. Well, maybe not, as they go past. Lots of shops, lots of luxury goods. Charges a lot of money for everything. And that's the Avenue George V. That's the biggest Louis Vuitton in the world. Fouquet's with the red blinds is where our President Sarkozy goes with his wife Carla Bruni. Very glamorous. And lots of rich... famous perfume shop, a bit like Woolworths or something. And above them up to stroll about on a Sunday when the shops are closed. They still come here and straight to Disneyland, aren't you? There's the Paris Disney shop on the left. If you need a stuffed Mickey Mouse. Just on the right, the football shop, just coming up here. Paris Saint-Germain. It's the same avenue, it's still the Champs-Élysées. We're heading down towards the Grand Palais, the small palace. And these two big buildings on our left and right were built for the World Fair of 1900. And that's when they kept the Eiffel Tower as well for that World Fair, and they've kept it ever since. So all these buildings, these two buildings, and the bridge in front of us were built for that World Fair 1900. This avenue is called Winston Churchill. And there's a statue of Winston Churchill just on the left-hand side, next to the fir tree. Famous figure from World War II. He, along with Napoleon, is probably the most famous historical character, along with Marie Antoinette, I suppose, who had her head chopped off at the Revolution. But Louis XIV, he's the one who built Versailles, famous palace of Versailles, and he reigned in the 17th century, right until 1715 when he died. He reigned for 72 years, the longest reigning monarch in Europe. Longer than Queen Victoria later. He was only 5 when he became king though, so he got a good start, an early start. Look at the soldiers in armour around the roof, windows, sculptures. Look at the helicopter here. Look at the cannons at the front. Look at the cannons, which is about 2/3 of the height of the Eiffel Tower. It's the same height as the Montparnasse Tower. So a very long...
नेपोलियन बोनापार्ट की बॉडी को दफनाया गया है, गोल्ड पेंटेड above, you can see.
Oh, I got scared.
Pointed trees are. If you missed him last time, here's the top of the Finca to the right. And in the garden at the moment there's that funny rocket looking thing. Looks like a Gothic rocket. That's just a temporary work of art, because sometimes in the museums here... There it is, look, this building on the right. So that might be, say, the Indian Prime Minister coming over, might have lunch there or whatever. Meetings in that building on the right.
यहाँ पे आता है मनमोहन सिंह.
Coming up on the left is the Concorde Bridge. We're going to cross over that one. government building of France. It's called the National Assembly. It's where all the deputies, the members of parliament meet. That building on the right. See the Assemblée. People, including the King and the Queen. On the left-hand side now we've got the Orangery Museum, where there are some beautiful paintings of water lilies by Monet. This pedestrian bridge on the right leads under the road. Part of it brings you up in the Tuileries Gardens on the left. The big building with the clocks on the right, coming up the other side of the river, is the Musée d'Orsay, the Orsay Museum, built as a railway station in 1900 and now used as the Impressionist Museum. That's where you see Monet, Renoir, Degas, Toulouse-Lautrec, Van Gogh, all those famous 19th century painters. That building on the right. Once a railway station. So that's a very famous museum in Paris, the Orléans, a medieval fortress which then became the King's Palace, and the King started building it better and better, bigger and bigger, and at the Revolution it became a museum. In French they called it La Joconde, in Italian La Gioconda, Italian Renaissance. So all this building then is the Louvre on the left. It's about 2/3 of a mile in length. And that's just one of the wings. There's another wing further over to our left. On the right hand side across this pedestrian bridge called the Bridge of the Arts, there's the domed building in Paris, but we still call it the New Bridge. If you saw that film with Matt Damon, The Bourne Connection, that was filmed all around here. And that's the City Island now on the right. Some people live on it. It's a fairly expensive place to live. And we'll see the Conciergerie coming up on the right, where Marie Antoinette, back to the Concorde Square behind us, where she was guillotined. We're going to cross the City Island now and have a look at Notre Dame Cathedral. We're going to turn across this next bridge now to the right, across the Ile de la Cité, where the first Parisians settled on the island in the 3rd century, 250 BC, and Paris was born. In the far distance there you can see the oldest bridge in Paris, not the first one on our right, but the second one, the Pont Neuf. You can see the Conciergerie as well, and over to the left, beyond this island, there's another island, a smaller island, called the St. Louis Island. Coming up on the left here is a building that doors the kings from the Old Testament. The two towers, the one on the right, where Quasimodo lives, the hunchback of Notre Dame, lives in the right-hand tower. Crossing over another little bridge here, it's called the Little Bridge, that's its name. It's on the site of the oldest bridge, when the island was first joined to the left bank. The Romans came here, invaded here, the Church of Saint Severin, a Gothic church like Notre Dame. Ahead of us, the building with the little green dome is the Sorbonne, part of the Paris University now, but once a theological college. So everybody around here spoke, but the lucky ones are in this area. Lots of bookshops here. Librairie is bookshop. The glass looks black, but when you're on the inside, but he never saw it finished. and several generations worked on it over 170 years. Along the riverside here we've got lots of these booksellers, second-hand books, pictures of Paris. They're known as les bouquinistes. Lots of it on your left-hand side. There's a fountain with St. Michael. To all the buildings on the right there are on the city island. The big spire sticking up to where the water's flowing out. And that square there is called the Place Saint-Michel, St. Michael's Square. Very famous student square, where the students meet in the evening and then they go off to a cheap little restaurant in the area. Look at the booksellers here, les bouquinistes, big trials if it's a big terrorist or whatever, whoever. All the trials are held with the Sun King. Over to the right, the horseback statue. He's the king who was Protestant and became Catholic. He said Paris is worth a mass. He had to be Catholic to be fully in charge of Paris. And he's the one who opened that bridge, the new bridge. Coming up on the left, a closer look at the Academy, the French Academy, the French Institute. In fact, they have 5 academies here. Academy of Sciences and Arts, etc. But the most famous one is the literary bit. The Louvre is the big long building to our right now. Coming up on the left, we can see these red and purple posters. The Paris Arts School, just on the left there. But there's no police outside with Paris traffic. Just on the left is the red. Looking upstream, you can see the towers of Notre Dame now, and the spire of the Sainte-Chapelle to the left of it, built by St. Louis. On the city island, the big glass roof to the left of the Grand Palais, built for the World Fair of 1900. Coming up on the left now, the Tuileries Gardens, and this is where the Tour de France cycle race comes round the garden and back over to the IMP's pyramid. It's in the middle of it, to the right. Entrance to the Louvre. When you're on foot, you can see that glass pyramid. Just got a glimpse of it. Joan of Arc now on the left. This gold statue, the one who started booting out those English places all over life. Napoleon had a son who was called Napoleon for a month. Usually the 14th of July is the last performance before it closes for the holidays. And usually that's a free performance. Very glamorous look. Lots of coloured marble inside. Here's an American style restaurant on the right, look. Along with Napoleon perched on the top, dressed like a Roman emperor. See how he did things like the Romans. It's like Trajan's column in Italy. This column is called the Austerlitz column because it was made of cannons, bronze cannons, captured at the Battle of Austerlitz from the Austrians. That was one of his best victories, if not his greatest. So that's where Princess Diana then had her last dinner. The Ritz on the right. You can easily pay €1,000 for a room there for a night. Very posh. And look at the beautiful architecture of the square. Built by the Sun King, built by his architect Mansart, the same one who built that golden dome at the Eagle style architecture, and lots of jewellers' shops. The Place Vendôme with the Austerlitz column in the middle, with Napoleon perched on the top. The Ritz.